Welcome guys to a brand new video on Genshin Impact. Now I have like two different type of videos I want to make surrounding the whole Natlan update. So I'm going to start off with the first thing, which is being excited for Mavuika and Citlali. Now I'm going to talk about this even though my next video on this Genshin topic is going to be talking about how I feel like the whole of Natlan characters have just been an absolutely shitfest in terms of the characters that were getting released are pretty much all gimmicky. Like that's what I felt when all the Natlan characters came out, gimmicky. Now I'm not gonna lie, it did get me excited, but at the same time, looking at it as a player and looking at it as, okay, what is the point for all of this character? It was just pretty much selling characters that are pretty much niche in roles, and it makes it a little bit more gimmicky. However, again, I will make a video talking about the whole Natlan characters and how gimmicky they are and how they don't feel that exciting. Well, even though I'm excited for them, it's pretty much because of the animations, and that's pretty much it. But I will say this though, I am excited to see what Mavuika and Citlali do to the game. More specifically because Mavuika is the Archon, and I know people do not like the bike she has, and I will say again, it is gimmicky. I am someone who likes extreme animation, so characters that ride a bike is something I really wanted in Genshin anyways, because I wanted to traverse the world at a faster speed and just be cooler when I'm traversing. I don't want to be running around like an idiot in Genshin, okay? I've played Weather and Waves, they had that cool ecosystem that you can traverse the world with that. I thought that was cool, and of course Genshin had to do something kind of similar, but in my opinion, I think it was much needed, but I think they could have implemented it a little bit more better than the way they did it. Okay, so of course the Natlan character, it's kind of weird that, yo, Mavuika is riding a bike. I totally understand, but honestly, if I was just to ignore that this is a Natlan world and just look at the character separately, then of course I'll be hyped. It's a character that rides a bike. I am excited for that. But I do want to say this, one of the reasons why I really like playing Genshin is I am so interested in the lore. So saying to me to avoid or ignore the lore for Mavuika and just focus on the cool animation she has is a little bit harder to do. Now I will still say I'm cool. I'm really hyped for her because I like the animations. However, not on the same level. I don't think there's that much hype around her compared to the other Archons that came out. If like the main reason why I started playing Genshin was because of Shogun. And I will say this, I have never been more hyped for a character than Shogun. And even though we've gotten other other Archons after her, they did not put me on the same level of hypeness as with the Shogun. Even though Shogun kind of it's not the best Archon right now in terms of like gameplay and utility and usefulness in game compared to like Farina. But still, the Shogun is still extremely strong, of course. But I still like using her, I still like looking at her animation, and I still will never regret summoning for her. But when we have characters like Mavuika, I am extremely excited for her again, but I feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot with how they designed her, because they kind of just ruined what people were expecting. Of course, we all had expectations of what she was meant to be, and of course the devs didn't really have to live up to the expectation. I will still say that we were all disappointed. I'm not going to say everyone is disappointed, actually, let me take that back. I do think significant of the player base are disappointed with how Mavuika turned out, and I do think, of course, it's normal. Like every Archon before they come out, we get a bunch of doom posting. It's not about her kit. I don't even think that's what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking more specifically about just the overall Natlan has actually affected and how Mavuika is seen as well. So again, I am cool with the bike simply because I want to move faster in the world. However, the bike is not even going to stay on field for that long, as well as most of her, the off-field stuff she does could have been a little bit better, but it still works for what it does right now. It still actually is useful, sorry. But one of the main issues with Mavuika is that she is limited in the type of teams you need to use, literally. So I feel like that's a bit worrying, because with Archons, they are usually the safest bet to summon for, because like longevity is guaranteed with most of them, of course. Take a look at Farina, take a look at Nahida. Longevity is definitely going to be something you can get. And even with Shogun, of course, Shogun's DPS is kind of cut down. I mean, it's not as strong if you don't have C2 with Shogun, but still, she still has utility that could make her useful in the future with off-field electro damage. So I do think Shogun was not going to be getting like completely power crept. well, she will probably get power crept if there's a better off-field Electrode character, but I still think Shogun is still going to be a great character. But when it comes to with Mavuika, she is pretty much limited to Natlan units, and in the future, are we going to get more Natlan units? Of course they could, but it's not going to be like when we go to Shnaya. How many Natlan characters do you think we're going to get? I don't know, like probably one, because yes, they do release like Mondstadt character, even though it's a Natlan patch. They do that, okay? However, I still will say that the fact that they've limited her to like a specific team kind of shoots them in the foot. Like of course they want to make her as an absolutely broken DPS. She is. When she comes out, she's going to be the best DPS in the game, comparable to New Valette. However, how long is that going to last if her teammates pretty much will stay the same for a very, very long time? Like with New Valette, his teammate has changed multiple times. Of course, he has Farina being the staple character, but of course, he has like teammates that will continue to change. And in the future, if we get better supportive character, he will just keep using them, you know? But with Mavuika, no matter what supportive character that comes out, you still are forced to use you know, what's her face, Shilonin. You're still forced to use Shilonin so you can stack up enough ability energy to use her ult, you know. So I feel like they shot themselves in the foot. I will say though, I will still summon for Mavuika. My decision was like my initial look, well, before we knew what she actually did, I was thinking I was going to get her, sorry if you heard the vibration, I was thinking that I was going to get her to like C2. But I think that's a dumb idea. I mean her damage will go insanely hard at C2, but I think it's just better to go and work on supportive character. Of course, like I think she's gonna have a really strong team right now. Of course, in the future, again, the team is still gonna be very, very strong. But like when we get new supportive character, are they gonna be able to be integrated in Mavuika's team? I don't think so. So that means like in the future, it's like if you can't get someone to replace the, like if support characters to get power crept, I mean right now we've seen significantly more power creeping happening in Genshin compared to the first 2 years of Genshin's release. So like power creep is definitely something that they're trying to introduce in the game. I am hoping it's not like Honkai Star Rail, because the reason why I don't play Honkai Star Rail is because that game is just absolutely terrible if you're summoning as a free-to-play player. I'm sorry, because the character you summon for one patch can get power crept straight away. It's not straight away, but they get power crept in the next patch. I really hate that idea, and I hope Genshin is not moving towards that aspect just because Honkai Star Rail is doing really good. I hope they don't try and take some aspect of that, because that's a terrible thing to take. Because the reason why Genshin was really fun was many people were interested more in the character than the kit. Like I remember how it was like trying to make content in Genshin in the first 2 years. Like, I mean, some characters were absolutely dog tier, and I wanted to, not dog tier, but like really not that strong, and I wanted to make videos saying, nah, this character is not that strong, you should skip. But like everyone would say that's the dumbest decision ever, because the character is so cool, the character is so fun. People used to focus on what the character is like compared to what the character's kit was, but now it's all about the kit. Literally now it's like it's a stark difference, and that's because content is becoming even harder, and the devs are definitely pushing for more power creep. So I am excited for Mavuika because of the cool animations, yes, even with the bike, but I am slightly disappointed with how they've locked her into that team and how they have decided to not. I honestly thought they're gonna make sure she gives Night Soul points to every character that's on her team, because that's what it was shown in one of the arcs, you know, when she gave like the aura. I mean, I thought she would literally give it to every character, so technically new characters can use Night Soul points, and I thought that would be so cool, but they didn't. Instead, they made it like, no, she needs to work with characters with Night Soul ability. I was like, wow, really? You really did that? They're selling us on like a gimmick, in my opinion. That yes, of course it works with Mavuika because she's still going to be dealing insane amount of damage, but still, I don't really necessarily think it's a good idea. I mean, I will summon, but I would have initially gone to like C2 if she had like more supportive capability. I mean, I might go C2 depending on how amazing my luck is, but I will need to summon for Citlali as well. So I did spend a lot of time talking about Mavuika, but now it's time to talk about Citlali. I think this character is going to be actually pretty good. I will be summoning for her. If you guys are summoning for Mavuika and you want to make sure Mavuika is good, there are two important things you need to get. Not the constellation or the weapon. The first thing you need to get is Shilonin, followed by Citlali. Then you should focus on the weapon or the constellation. Now, personally, I already got Shilonin, so of course I'm going to be getting Citlali. So I'm going to summon for Mavuika, summon for Citlali, and then potentially pull for her weapon. Now, I already have Arlecchino, and I think it's the dumbest decision one more time to put Arlecchino and Citlali around the same, Arlecchino and Mavuika around the same patch, in my opinion, because people already summoned for Arlecchino, and people already know how strong Arlecchino is, and she works with other teams, and in the future, when we get other supportive character, she will more than likely still want to use some of the newer characters, compared to Mavuika, who can't use any of the future supports. Maybe she's gonna need like 2 Nutland characters in her team or something like that. Well, maybe 1, and that 1 is Shilonin, which limits her team in a bit, compared to like characters like Arlecchino, who's also getting released but in the second half of the patch. So it's a bit weird that they've released 2 main pyro DPS in the same patch. I find that extremely weird. But hey, Citlali is also going to be a character I summon for. Let me know down in the comment section if you're going to be summoning for her as well. I think many people are more interested in Citlali, in my opinion, because it's the first cryo character in a while. First new 5-star cryo character in a while. So that's my talk about the update. I am excited. I will still summon. I'm going to be excited for the 1st of January when all this update goes out, because, you know, we got a lot of stuff to take a look at. Okay, that's pretty much it. It's been your boy AC Gamer, and I'm out.